It's Friday, November 14th, 2014, and let's talk about what happened this week over at xdadevelopers.com. First up, it's Lollipop time. As expected, Google finally got around to rolling out factory images for the Nexus devices. At the time of this recording, images for the Nexus 5, both the Wi-Fi Nexus 7s and the Nexus 10 are all available, and the Nexus 4 is expected to be coming soon. That said, I tried flashing it to my Nexus 5 and it failed pretty spectacularly, several times. Afterward, I did some reading over on XDA. Seems I'm not the only one who had issues with it, so do feel free to speak up in the comments with your experiences as well. In the end, I just ended up flashing back over to KitKat and all is well moving forward. Hopefully, I will get the update over the air, but if not, I'll try it again shortly. Moving right along though, if you remember, Sony made a video recently showing off Lollipop running on a few of their devices. As of this week, they've gone ahead and added a device tree, blobs, and an updated kernel for Lollipop for the Xperia Z3 to their AOSP. Keep in mind though, if you decide to try to build this on your device, the bootloader has to be unlocked, which wipes out all the DRM stuff, it wipes out your TA partition, so your camera and maybe some other things are not gonna work well afterwards unless you've made a backup of that TA partition that you can restore. And speaking of Xperia devices receiving Lollipop, XDA recognized developer Varun Cheatray 15 has managed to get a port of AOSP running on the Xperia L as of this week. There are some issues with RIL and connectivity, so don't go jumping on it just yet as a daily driver, but still it's nice to keep an eye on it. And in some other interesting Lollipop port news, a really unexpected port popped up this week for the Motorola Defy. XDA recognized developer Quarks didn't actually post the port, but he did put up a few screenshots showing it in action, and the thread says he's just waiting on the sources for Lollipop to get going moving forward. What's even more interesting is that he's actually working to port the Linux 3.10 kernel from the Moto 360 to run on the Defy along with it. Not sure why, that just sort of tickles my fancy, but it just does. Either way though, it's always awesome to see developers continuing to support these older, abandoned devices. And moving on to some open source news, as of this week, the Gnome Foundation announced that Groupon was trying to trademark the name Gnome for a point-of-sale tablet. There was a pretty massive disturbance in the open source force, as it were, and after a few days, Groupon announced that they're going to go ahead and abandon their trademark applications, and they're find some sort of a new name moving forward. So, when? Really, it was just a little bit scary for a large company like that to kind of pop up and say, you know that name you've been using, that brand you've been building up for the last few years? We're gonna take that now. Either way, I'm glad that things worked out for the best in the end. It's all been sorted. Hopefully there won't be another company that gets kind of stepped on. Now in some other open source news, Microsoft made big news this week when they announced they're going to be open sourcing the .NET framework, which is extremely nice to hear. Additionally though, they're also going to be putting together their own Android emulator, which is supposed to be even faster than the one that Google puts out with the Android SDK. Really interesting to see Microsoft taking these kind of steps, and I'm actually really curious to see what happens both with .NET and with their upcoming emulator moving forward. And anyway, to wrap things up, a little bit of XDA news. Google announced a service a little while back called Helpouts, which is supposed to help facilitate asking for and receiving assistance as well as offering it for pretty much whatever you might need. Well, as of this week, XDA has announced a partnership with Google Helpouts in order to make it a little bit easier for new users on XDA to reach out directly to more experienced developers for help. If you'd like to learn more about helping out, or if you just want to reach out for some help yourself maybe, go ahead and check out the post over on the portal for more information. And as usual, 3 other videos were posted to XDA TV this week. TK did an Expose Tuesday talking about screen-off animation, then he showed you how to root the Note 4 and install TWRP on it, and then he reviewed an app called Weak Control. But you know what, that's going to be about all from me for today. You can find the links to all the stories I talked about down in the video description as usual, as well as the links to my YouTube channels. Remember, if you like this video, leave us a like down below the video and subscribe to receive all of our content as soon as it becomes available. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.